What's up, y'all? It's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today we're over here in the Auchindoun Heroic instance, and I'm going to be showing you guys pretty much all the bosses in there and pretty much what's going on. This isn't going to be as much of a guide on how to complete the instance. Now, I've got an idea on how I'm going to be doing those. I'm not sure if this is going to be quite the way it's going to be on live, but just the way that things are acting, the way that things are looking, and it's probably might be pretty close, but I can't say for sure. And so I don't want to give you guys too much of like advice about like, oh, you should do this, you should do that, because things might not be quite this way, but they might be. I don't really know. And so anyway, I'm just going to get right down into it. The first thing here is, by the way, I'm only really going to be doing bosses. I'm just going to be doing some trash pulls to kind of talk about some of the stuff in the instance and, you know, my general ideas. And then after that, I'll pretty much just be going over the bosses. So anyway, what's going on in here is that I don't really know exactly the story, but it seems like whenever you kill this guy, I think that they turn against you, and like the Soulbinder Naomi, who's the second boss, like gets either turns against the Draenei, or for whatever reason decides to fuck their shit up and turn them against us. And see, they're like the Sargerai, and so obviously here there's the Burning Legion. Now, if you guys haven't really known a lot about that, really haven't read about it, what's going on in the expansion is that basically the Iron Horde is going to be causing a whole lot of problems, but towards the end of the expansion, so is the Burning Legion. And so I don't really know what that says about like an expansion afterwards, Draenor, but we're not even in that one, and so I'm not really going to make a whole lot of speculation, but I just want to let you guys know pretty much so you know kind of what to expect in terms of like what's going on in like the lore of the instance. Now, the actual pulls themselves, there's nothing in this instance that I felt was particularly like super challenging. I thought that Taron Gore, who was the last boss in the instance, was actually pretty difficult. We did wipe on him, and so that's usually something that doesn't really happen. And I have a group of very good players with me, by the way. There are some of the people who I added a couple of these people. They were people who I kind of like found on the YouTube whenever I did the LFM Wars of Draenor beta, and honestly, like whenever I made that video, I thought that this was like either like going to be a great idea or like the worst idea I've ever had, and so it was like really good to actually do some stuff with some of the people who watched the videos, and also these are some other people who are from my guild also, and it actually went really well, and so I was very satisfied and happy about that. For the first boss here, it's was it Vigilant Kel'Thuzad, I think his name is. What he's going to do is he's going to do pretty much one very important ability, and that ability is pretty much going to function a lot the same way that the boss in Twin Consorts does with the meteors on Heroic, where he's going to throw down one of his shields that's on his arm, and then he's going to do a pulsing thing, and you have to get behind the shield. And if you guys have ever done Saffron in Nax, you'll know that if you melee him through the shield, you'll break the LOS and you'll take damage from it, and so you want to make sure you're not doing that. Now, from normal to heroic, there's a big change where he casts it way faster, and so after he throws his shield down, if you don't have some sort of a movement speed thing, or like heroic leap for me, you definitely want to be moving towards the shield already at that point. Now, what he's going to be doing besides that, he does like that slam. He like slams his arm down, and there's like a cracking like around, I guess, the arena that you fight him on. And so really all you have to do there is not get hit by it. See, there is the cast right there, and he put down the shield. It's called Consecrated Light is what he casts here. And as you see here, he picks his shield back up, and the fight goes on as normal. We had our druid die. I think that he was not expecting it to happen as fast as I was too. Luckily, I had heroic leap. Druids don't have quite as much, and it does a pretty good amount of damage. Like, one thing that I'm really happy about with the heroics is that they're actually pretty difficult. Like, I was expecting them to be kind of a little bit harder than like the Mists of Pandaria heroics, which is like really not very hard to do. And so these are actually significantly harder. I would say that these are almost as hard as some of the Cataclysm heroics. And I know that, like, obviously, I don't think that, I guess we'll have a little bit better gear whenever we do this the first time on live. But maybe not. It depends on if you have the heirlooms, because obviously all of our gear is scaled down to 615 in this fight. I do, before I talk about that anymore, I want to talk about a couple of different abilities he does. What he does is he puts down these little things that explode, basically, and they're little white things, and it's like, usually it's like if you see like a glowing white thing, it's like, fuck, let's get in this because I'm about to get healed because that's a priest. Well, he's not a fucking priest, and he's going to kill you if you stand in those. And so you want to be really careful and not stand in those. I actually, the crazy thing about this, I got loot from every fucking boss. See, that's how it should be, in my opinion, every time I do a dungeon, that I get the loot from every boss. But usually other people in the group don't agree with me, but today it ended up happening and going my way, and so I'm really glad about that. So that's the way that boss works. The next boss, see, we were working on her achievement, and we spent about, say, like a half hour wiping on her. And it was really good that we stopped whenever we did, because we actually finished killing the instance 5 minutes, or finishing the instance, killing the last boss 5 minutes before the raid reset, or the dungeon reset, and so that was a very good thing. Now this, she's going to do two different things. The first thing she's going to cast is a Soul Vessel, Soul Vessel, and obviously you get inside this blue thing whenever she casts it, and you take no damage. If you're outside of it, I think I move outside of it just to show, but I guess, I did. So I took 43,000 damage from it, and so it does a pretty good amount of damage. We used to think that, she also summons ads, we used to think that it would damage the ads also. We found out that is not true. Now she can summon 3 different types of ads. She can summon, what are they called? Malefic Defenders, I think they're called. Can't quite read from there. But anyway, so she can summon the Defenders, which are very easy to kill, Arbiters, which are very annoying, and she can also summon a Magus, which is like kind of a caster. Now, you can handle this in 2 ways. The way I think you should handle it is that you should ignore the ads and burn down the boss. And usually whenever she'll like port to a certain area, and then you can pretty much, what I try and do is AoE down all the Guardians, or the Defenders, sorry. And whenever all the Defenders are dead, if any of them are still alive, maybe I do a little bit of damage to them like right now, since I can't hit the boss. But other than that, I focus pretty much on damaging her. The damage that the ads do to the tank is really not that high. And so again, you should pretty much just be focusing on damaging the boss. She also casts Mind Spike, which is very low damage ability. It's not really a big deal, but you can interrupt it if you want to. As you can see, there's a Magus that spawned, and usually we were damaging those. See, I'm probably going to be taking a couple hits here, and I got hit once there. I was being stupid. But anyway, like this is a pretty easy fight to do. The achievement, I think, is very hard. I think that they're going to change it. You have to kill like 12 of those Defenders within 3 seconds. And so the Defenders have a lot of health, and so it's kind of hard to actually like have them and keep aggro on them with the tank without actually having them take any damage. And so I will not be surprised if that 3 seconds is changed to a 10 seconds, at which point I'll probably retry it again. But this is a very interesting achievement to do. It was very fun for us to try, and so I hope as soon as they change that, because I don't really think that that's how fast it should be happening. I hope as soon as they change that, I'll go ahead and I'll show you a guide on how to do that too. But anyway, that's pretty much that boss. As I said before, she pretty much does it in a rotation. She'll do the Soul Vessel, which is the thing that you have to get inside of, and as soon as she does the Soul Vessel, she'll summon ads and Soul Vessel again, and so it's just like one, two, then the other. But she always does Soul Vessel first. And other than that, the fight's pretty simple. Now this next guy is Azrakal. I actually did another guide on him, and I'll probably be up on YouTube at the same time as this. And we're actually going to be doing the achievement on him, but I'll pretty much explain the way the fight works without really too much talking about the achievement. At a certain point in time, after you're engaged in combat with him, after a while, he's going to do a knockback, by the way, which is Fell Lash. He casts that on your tank, and so you want to be either against the wall or ready to be paying attention to that knockback. So hopefully you don't get knocked out of, maybe your Warrior's Ravager. Just saying. But anyway, Azrakal basically is going to come up, and he's going to go immune damage, and he's going to put a dot on 2 people. And what that dot's going to do, I think you can actually put it on 1 person. But either way, if you have a dot on you, you need to be away from everybody else because it spreads the dot. And it's the same way as it worked on, what was his name, Brutalis, and also on Balrog Heroic. Okay, so whenever you had the debuff on you, and you got too close to somebody else, you would spread that debuff to the other people. Now, whenever he goes up in the air and is immune, he summons 4 ads. He summons a Crackling Pyromaniac. He summons 2... basically ads that run around and do nothing. Don't worry about them, just don't run into them, and if you do, they disorient you. And he also spawns a Fell Legionnaire. If you want to kill anything, you want to focus down the Pyromaniac because his direct damage cast is very long cast. You can also interrupt it, but if you don't interrupt it, you take about 150,000 damage, and at current gear levels, that's over half your health, and so you want to be very careful about that. there's a lot of fire and incidental damage that goes on, especially after the ad spawn, and so it's very healing intensive at that point, but until then, it's very easy to do until he spawns the ads. Hopefully you don't get more than one ad phase, but if you do get more than one ad phase, you want to make sure that you kind of keep the pyromaniacs under control mostly. Like, that's the one thing that can wipe you. Like, the rest of it is probably not going to cause you that much trouble. The Fel Legionnaires, I do want to mention one thing about them, is they also have another knockback. And so tanks, the way they should handle that is be positioned against the wall, because the boss has a knockback as well as the other ads, and so it's kind of an issue. Now, Terran Gore, I don't know if I said this before, but yeah, I did. We wiped on Terran Gore, and that was crazy. Like, I'm not really used to wiping. I don't really spend a lot of time wiping. Now, I don't mean to brag or anything like that, but I mean, the shit's not very hard, so usually it's not very hard. And I also have, as I said before, very good players with me. And so what he's going to do is he basically, he's going to summon these Infernals. Now, you can handle the Infernals in two different ways. You can kite them around, or you can kill them. Now, we opted to kill the first two of them. And by the way, Terran Gore at 70% goes into like demon form, by the way. And he does more abilities, and I'll explain those in a minute. And so anyway, he does Chaos Wave, which is one of them. He aims in a direction, and he shoots the Chaos Wave. It does a pretty good amount of damage, and there's no real reason to get hit by it. Demonic Leap is a real fucking pain in the ass to get away from, especially because he does Curse of Exhaustion, and it slows you if you're a melee, and so it's really kind of annoying. But either way, he pretty much casts that usually on the melee, and so if you're melee, just move out of it. If not, it only does like 40,000 damage or something like that, or 60,000, so it's not really going to kill you, but there's other things that he does that are also very deadly. He also puts what Curse of Doom, as you can see, it's on our tank here, and it does 80,000 damage every 15 seconds. And so it's not really, as I said before, not really that deadly, but it can sneak up on you, and especially if incidental damage happens from, let's say, Demonic Leap or the Infernals melee you. The Infernals, by the way they work is that they fixate on one person, and they prefer ranged. And so what you want to have is you want to have your ranged, either one person cutting them around, and if you choose to leave all the Infernals up, you want to stack them up in a circle and run around the room all next to each other as ranged, so you have the Infernals all in the same place, so it's easy to slow them. And if you slow them, they're very easy to avoid and control, and the only problem you'll have then is controlling new Infernals that spawn. And the Infernals function as some sort of, I guess you could say, a soft enrage. And so, you know, if you have high DPS, you can pretty much kill them without having to worry with Infernals, and if you have low DPS, you might have to kill some Infernals. But the Infernals have a lot of health too, and so it's a difficult fight, I think, and I'm very glad about that. You know, I always like fighting, you know, like doing challenging 5-man content. You know, I really have enjoyed doing this, and so I'm very happy that Blizzard has implemented these, and I really hope they don't nerf them too much. I do expect that they will be at least partially nerfed, but hopefully in challenge modes they'll still be very difficult. Anyway, so let me think. So there's the Chaos Wave, he does that. He does Demonic Leap, he puts Curse of Doom on you, as you can see it's on me. And by the end of the fight, he actually has it on everybody. So if you're a healer that can't really cast and move or cast spells while moving, you're going to be having a bad day. One of the easy things, or one of the good things that's about this fight, is that he dies at about 10%, and so it makes it a bit easier. As you can see, we're getting overwhelmed with Infernals anyway, and so I was very, very glad that he died right then, because it was getting kind of rough. So anyway, that's pretty much the whole instance, and we were kind of expecting some really good loot, but instead we got the boomstick. So I don't really have audio in here, but I think about right there I said what the fuck. And so anyway, I think I actually got that one too, by the way. I actually got the boomstick too, to make sure that I got all the loot in the instance. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the Auchindoun Heroic. I thought it was a very good instance, very fun, very well put together. You can see the artwork and everything is very well done. I did enjoy this a lot. Like, I think this is like a very, very cool room. And so anyway, that's pretty much all I've got. So thanks for watching, and like, comment, subscribe.